Welcome back to the Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast for the preview of the Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift, the 9-day stage race. Another stage has been added, a TT has been added, and the strongest start list is here maybe ever. We have some of the best women's riders in the last 10 years here, except for the original winner, Van Vleuten, in 2022. Apart from that, Van der Breggen, Royce, Demi Vollering, Blasi's the new superstar, and Pauline Ferrand-Prévot, last year's defending champion. We're going to get through all the stages, previews, who we think will win, the GC favourites and their teams, the shape of the race, where it is. Doesn't even start in France, like the men's race, but it doesn't start in Barcelona either, as well as giving our final predictions. So I'm really, really excited. How do you feel, Benji, doing this? The first time we're doing a preview after the men's tour, because it starts now with a week gap. How do you feel about that?
I love it. First of all, because you get a bit of rest before you get to the Tour de France Femmes. So I started Tour de France Femmes avec Zwift less tired in the first place. And on top of that, I feel like we can finally give the race the credit it deserves in the preview. Because otherwise it's like, okay, this evening of a Tour de France stage, we have to do a Tour de France recap podcast for the men's race and then do another preview for the women's race during the stage or after the stage. And it's so much easier to properly focus on both races separately when it's divided like this. So I'm a big fan. I don't want to see it again.
Me too. Yeah, I feel much better about it. And listen, don't worry about little old us. If the viewership numbers are way better having it back to back, then do that. But
nah, fuck that. Selfishly, keep it like this.
Yeah, selfishly, and maybe for the audience, all of whom you're all listening to. You've just had a massive 6-week block of Dauphiné and then Tour de France men, maybe also the 1-week reset is what you're also looking for. So I'm pumped for it. The route, by the way, we start in Switzerland. We start in Geneva, and then we go, where do we go? Hold on. I had a map. We start in Lausanne. No? We start in Lausanne, then we go to Aigle. Aigle is where the UCI headquarters are. And then Geneva to Poligny. So we enter France on the third stage. So a third of the race is in Switzerland, and we've got like punchy stages, which is pretty. I think there'll be pretty beautiful stages around the lake.
I think so too. And in France, we go from the Jura on stage 3 to I think Massif Central on stage 5, 6, and then eventually to the Alps and the Provence in stage 7 to 9. So that's how we maneuver through France. With 9 stages, it's impossible to do an actual Tour of France, so to say, and add to that 3 stages or 2.5 at least in France. But I don't really care too much about it representing every aspect of France every year, so I don't mind too much. The obvious first impressions before we deep dive into the parcours for me is there's 2 polar opposite important moments in the race. We've got on stage 4, next to the mustard in Dijon, we've got a time trial. That's marking stage number 1, an important moment. On the opposite side, on stage 7, Mont Ventoux, Patrick. Oh la 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 la.
Yeah, same. So similar format as last year. They had the Madeleine last year, but the Ventoux is it's not a Unipuerto. There is the Suzette before it, but it's not as hard a stage as the Madeleine stage last year. But you can have wind in the Malocène. So if there's crosswind, especially in August, maybe that's a harder stage even before the Ventoux, but I think it's nice that they've counterbalanced it with a TT. They've also counterbalanced it with some really hard medium mountain stages. So I think, like the men's tour, this race has less technical, tricky, punchy stages and just more straight up medium mountain GC stages or hard transition days. And there's actually few and far. The sprints are few and far between. Now, someone like Wiebes can survive a Sisteron stage, which is like a classic. The stage finish in Sisteron is a classic Paris-Nice, like I think it was the one. Anyway, it's normally a sprint of like the hard riders. This is maybe Wiebes can survive that, but it's not a good route for her. I mean, I only see one. I see one stage where I'm very, very sure she will win. And normally in a stage race of 9 stages, I would say there's 3.
I think that's fair. There's at least one stage, the first one, where I'm like, half, she survives it on her best day. To be honest, like it's a very mixed parkour. And I think that that's good for it. But before we deep dive into the favorites and the parkour and so forth, I'd like to remind ourselves what happened last year to set the stakes of how the favorites were last year going into the season. And that was when Pauline Ferrand-Prévot won. She entered this race in Terminator mode, and throughout the first couple of days, I think Kim Lecourt-Pinard took the yellow jersey, was a bit of a hype moment, I would say. Then Sarah Gigante was a massive member of GC, and a real threat for a climb like Côte de la Madeleine, where we started hyping her up as the woman to beat on that climb. She's not here this year due to her lingering injury that, well, I'm happy to see her on the bike these days, so it's good to see that it's progressing. Let's hope she's on the bike again pretty soon. From Kim Lecourt-Pinard, we went to, I think, kind of stages where Voting and FDG weren't really attacking Gigante on her weak points during that race, but that didn't end up mattering too much for the first place in the race, where Pauline Ferrand-Prévot just nuked everybody on stage 7, on the stage 8, sorry, on the Madeleine, and then on stage 9 we had, what, sorry?
They only had 8 stages last year, no?
Okay, stage 7, you're right. I wrote stage 8 down for some reason.
Yeah, so, and then they did attack Gigante. They knocked her off the podium, I think, on the last stage when she got dropped on the descent. Cassia and Demi teamed up, but indeed, in doing so, then Demi got countered and Ferrand-Prévot won her second stage in a row. So Ferrand-Prévot she wasn't good in the stage races before, and I guess for the purpose of this preview, we have to assume she's going to be in good shape. I mean, it's her highlight of the year. She's the French returning champion, and yeah, I'm going to be assuming for the present purposes that we're going to get the same rider as last year, which is good because Blasi, if we go through her, she won the Vuelta. She's the number 3 ranked rider in the world. I don't know who 2 is, Vivas, I suppose. She's the number 2 GC ranked rider in the world. She won Catalunya, Pyrenees, Vuelta, Amstel, 3rd in TDU. Probably should have won TDU, actually, given the team they had there. And Roeg Dwars door of Vlaanderen. Van der Breggen's in fantastic shape again. Royce won Tour de Suisse with both winning the TT and mountain stages. So, and then Demi is Demi. So she just won the Giro in impressive fashion. So stack
Great race. I rewatched some of that Giro women's stages the last couple of days to prep my hype for this race, and that was such a good race that even if this Tour de France Femmes is a fraction of the fun I've had watching that Giro women, this is going to be a good race. So let's hope that is the case. And to be completely honest, Voting's kind of the name next to Ferrand-Prévot, next to Blasi then as the upcoming candidate, next to a Royster who on the time trial will do very well. Then the question mark is going to be, can she survive with potential advantage from that time trial on the actual Ventoux climb? But how about we go through every single favorite and let's talk about their teams, or, well, depending on how many of them have been fully announced.
Yeah, we had to wait. I mean, it starts on Saturday. We couldn't wait any later. This is Wednesday afternoon. I mean, we're not going to do it 2 days before, so we had to do it now. But indeed, we only have 60 to 70% of the start list, but we have a critical mass. We have FDJ, Visma, UAE, and AG Insurance, and FDJ. So they are the 4 GC favorites. And Movistar, so we're going to proceed on that basis. We'll go for the returning champ, Pauline Ferrand-Prévot. She's not the favorite. She's the second favorite. Demi's $1.83. Ferrand-Prévot's $3.50. And she brings with her Vos, who's not had many race days this season and didn't, started her season late. And then Femke de Vries, who's been very, very good. There's like a second-tier GC rider, Nika Nooyen, and Gengevelde's Rouleurs Bunel, who did the Madeleine satellite rider Adam Yates Alpe d'Huez style pool last year to help Ferrand-Prévot, and Sarah Van Damme, who's been the team's best signing this year, who's been just a consistent all-rounder. So I think it's a better climbing squad than last year. There's plenty of stages for Vos, and yeah, it also just depends on Ferrand-Prévot, but I don't think like Berthet and Muzic will necessarily outclimb De Vries. I think De Vries is a pretty good second line climber for this team.
I think that's a fair argument, especially with the fact that Elise Chabbey is not here due to her pregnancy for FDJ Suez. So she was arguably maybe the second best climber on FDJ team throughout this year in certain moments. So that's a rider and opponent for Visma that won't be a factor in this race. So we need to keep that in mind. But for Visma, yeah, you know my take. It's also your take. If Pauline Ferrand-Prévot arrives at this race with the same level as last year, she's going to be the person to beat. And that's because her level on Madeleine was a super high level. If you compare that to other climbs we've had in the last couple of years, then is it fair to say that Vollering, Tourmalet, and maybe a climb that Vollering has done in another race?
Finestra was good, but I think Finestra is a bit of a stat patter.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, we're looking
What do
at
you mean by that?
Like, it's so unusual in its length and consistent gradient of being so steep that everyone begins riding threshold from the bottom because there's no like real draft advantage. And then it's like compared to other climbs where there's more of a negative split, probably like a 7% climb like Tourmalet. Like Pogacar, for example, on Tourmalet, Pogacar could do the Tourmalet way, way faster than he did this year. If you put 6 Tadej Pogacars to pace Tadej Pogacar on Tourmalet, he could go maybe another minute quicker. Maybe 2 minutes
I think
quicker.
he'll go more than a minute quicker if you've got 6 Tadej Pogacars pacing Tadej Pogacar,
So,
Patrick.
Whereas Finestra, it's so steep, everyone just starts riding threshold, and then you get maybe a truer reflection of where they are. So, yeah, Ferrand-Prévot, good team. It's the best team they could bring. Bunel, the problem is, yeah, maybe isolation. It depends on Voss. Voss would be, her shape's a bit of an unknown as that versatile rider. But yeah, solid team. I'm not even going to do FTJ next. I'm going to move to what I think is the strongest team in the race. It's not a hot take. They're the second ranked team. UAE team Limad.
Yeah, the new name.
What is that?
ADQ is a sovereign wealth fund, and Limad is a new sovereign wealth fund that has eaten up the old sovereign wealth fund, Patrick.
Okay.
They're acquiring each other.
What's IMAD?
It's a sovereign wealth fund that ate the old sovereign wealth fund. It ate ADQ. I'm not kidding. I've done the research.
Limad is a major sovereign investment platform of Abu Dhabi, chaired by
no free promo, Patrick.
Crown Prince Sheikh Khalid bin Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan. 300 billion in assets. Would you like to add LRCP to your asset portfolio?
Oh God.
If
it means you can get more races on the calendar that's in the desert, you'd be like, yes.
If it means I can sign a 20-year agreement to buy all the race rights and put them on a streaming platform for everyone to watch for a fair price, I'm willing to. That actually is my dream. I'd love to do that. It doesn't have to be sovereign wealth fund, but I'd love investment to do that. But the team is very, very strong. They've taken a big step this year. Elisa Longo-Borghini is not even the GC leader. She's the all-round helper maybe, or second threat. Paula Blasi, I would say, is a leader, although talk about maybe why that wouldn't be the case. Persico is good around. Squibon 1-2 break stages. Garcia's a climber. Vladarchik's a climber. And she came like 5th last year?
Yeah.
4th.
She was really good last year.
4th.
She was really good.
That team's stacked.
Yeah, I agree. Brody Chapman has support as well.
Helper, yeah.
I look at this team and I agree with you that it's the strongest team in the race, but there's never a certainty about Elisa Longo-Borghini in this race, because I swear she finished this race once, 6th place.
Yeah.
And the rest she did not finish due to sometimes sickness. I don't know what the other reasons were, but I assume also sickness. But it's not necessarily a great thing then. Spoilers, if you are sick, it's not great. But Paula Blasi is the upcoming new kid on the corner, so to say, because winning the Vuelta and Amstel Gold Race this year moves you from being like a tier 4 outsider to like, should we also call you a co-favorite at this point? It's like, I'm like on the brink of potentially doing it, you know? So the favorites for me are Vollering and Ferrand-Prévot, but Blasi's extremely close to that line where I dare to call her a co-favorite. Is that fair?
Is she the leader of the team?
Yes.
But she's leaving.
I'm sorry.
The rumor is she's going to Movistar. Yeah, I know you don't care, but you're an adult.
I'm trying to say is the road will make sure she's the leader. On Ventoux, you can't wait with Blasi on your supposed leader.
True, yeah, exactly. You can't make her wait, but it's something that may play a role. Apparently, Paula Blasi's the rumor is she's going to Movistar apparently,
like
which
it.
was surprising. And in which case, yeah, how does that? Elisa Lamborghini's got a long-term contract with the team. How will that look between the two? But yeah, I think that team's really, really strong. Maybe Brody's.
I'm sorry. You've got a what $300 billion sovereign wealth fund, and you can't secure the one rider you need to secure for the future in this team?
Well, that was what I think Benson reported. That's why there might be some changes.
Okay, in the management.
Yeah, like it's not just the change of title sponsor. Also, there maybe some changes in management. So
Yeah, there was some drama around Jana Sale, if I recall correctly, but I do want to bring it to FDJ Suisse as you were speaking. We'll deep dive into more the tactics of each team when we go through the parkour, because it's hard to do so without knowing the actual stage and the consequences of those stages. But FDJ Suisse is also a confirmed roster. They've got a new jersey for this race, and I gotta say it's navy blue, so it is very used in the peloton in the last couple of years. But in the women's peloton, I actually kind of like it, so I won't complain too much about it. Demi Vollering, obviously the leader, together with Juliette Berthet, probably together with Music as the closest lieutenants on the climb. Then Celia Giry is the joiner, the debut rider, who's had a fantastic year upcoming so far, whether it's domestiquing in the actual Belgian classics or breaking through by winning some race herself already this year. Amber Kraak, Franziska Koch. I don't think I need to highlight how great her season has been with I think a fight at Strade Bianche, but not a victory there, because Shabby won there, but then a Roubaix victory that followed not too soon after, and Marie-Lené as a domestique throughout the parkour as well. So a solid roster, but in terms of climbing support, Juliette Berthet has not been the most... She's not been on the level that she's been in other years. Is that fair?
yeah, she hasn't been as good, Muzi, and it's not just this year; it's also last year. Like they got outclimbed by Bunel, and they weren't really able to make a difference. She's been good sometimes, but indeed, that's what I look at this. That's why I went to UAE, because I think the UAE team's way stronger in the mountains, in the climbs. Like Koch is probably the best all-round domestique in the race, but like climbing wise, I think it's a bit thin. And they're going to go for Jerry, which I think is probably right. But on the hilly stages, they go for Jerry in reduced sprints.
Yep, she's definitely a fast rider in a small group, so I see that too. And the question then is, if we put peak Pauline Ferrand-Prévot next to peak Demi Vollering, next to peak Paula Blasi, what have been their best numbers on the climbs in the last couple of years? I'd argue that I'd put the order in terms of actual best performances: Ferrand-Prévot, Vollering, Blasi, but then Vollering should be much benefited by the time trial in this race.
Exactly, yeah. Vollering's good at both, and the TT will make a big difference. I think it's over 20 kilometers long. And that brings us to Reusser, who I would say is around Blasi level climbing, sometimes better on a day, but around there. Reusser is supported by Lippert, Sarah Martin, Francesca Barale, Anna Magalas, Arlenis Sierra, and Paula Ostiz. So the 19-year-old, the first-year professional who was junior last year, Paula Ostiz, will start the Tour de France. She was in she did Catalonia, but she's a good rider, but she hasn't like set the world on fire yet. Big talent, but I was surprised.
It's early.
Yeah.
I would have expected a rider like that with the level she's shown in races. She's a super talent, but she's not, like you say, it's not like she's won races left and right either.
No,
I don't think she's won a race this year, but I kind of expected her to maybe do a Giro or a Vuelta before going to the Tour de France. So maybe a Tour de France coming next year. But I also feel like Movistar does not have the same luxury some of the other teams have in terms of team strength. So maybe that also makes a decision, because there's quite a few riders in their team that are also like just youngsters moving up. Are you surprised to not see a Kat Ferguson in this race?
She's injured, I think.
I think so too, but I can't find the injury.
Pretty sure she's injured she had
2 legs or 2 arms?
She broke something that maybe her ankle that they didn't realize was broken in the Giro.
Yes.
and I think she's out. So yeah, Ferguson would have been their reduced sprinter, like Jerry is for FDJ for all the suitable
Ankle.
stages. Ankle. Okay.
Left ankle. Oh, never mind. That's I'm not sure. I'm still trying to find it.
She was definitely injured.
Yeah.
So she's out. So yeah, that's a loss for Movistar. I would have expected she would have been in first.
Both ankles, which I'm not hyped about that, to be clear. I hope she returns fairly quickly at her best possible level. It sounds like a pretty serious injury though, but yeah, I think it's the fact that they don't have the luxury in their team their team's not as wide. Is that a fair thing to say as the other top teams?
Exactly. I think they've done some pretty smart investments, to be honest, but they've also got, so like Royce has really worked out. Blasi, I'm sure, will work out. Ferguson will work, has been a good investment. But then, indeed, they have like super youngsters like Ostis and also their Ruiz Perez sisters. So that's Movistar. I think Royce, TT and defend. Pretty straightforward strategy, I would say. We have a former winner also on Canyon SRAM. Kasia Nuviadoma won the 2024 edition, one of the most exciting finishes ever. She won by less than 10 seconds. Crazy edition.
4
seconds, was it?
Yes.
Holy. Imagine winning a Grand Tour the Tour de France by 4 seconds.
Especially when your opponent, Demi Vollering, crashed at the end of a stage because of her teammate, right? Because of Lorena Wiebes crashing into her, and then the team didn't wait on her immediately. That was that Tour de France.
Yeah.
Crazy. But I gotta say, I'm kind of sad that Kassia's competing. Can I be honest? And the reason is, I've been really enjoying their Instagram reels together with Taylor Finney on Instagram, their little race summaries, and I don't think they'll be able to do it when Kassia's actually in the race.
G did it. G did it when he was doing the tour. That's when you
pump
the numbers up.
I spoke with Taylor the other day, and he said he was looking for a replacement co-host. I'm not gonna do it.
You can do Instagram. Indeed, Nuviadoma will be here, supported by Skalniak Sojka, her Polish compatriot, Niedermayer. Maybe Niedermayer's co-leader, frankly. She was second in the Giro. I think that's probably the right way for them to do it. Consoni for the sprints, Paladin, Backstedt, and Klose. I don't know Klose too well. She's a gravel rider, I think.
She's a gravel rider. Okay. I think she's actually a pretty solid rider, to be honest. We've just not seen her that much this year. Only in like domestique rules. I think she got maybe top 40s in like the classics when she was domestiquing for people. But those were indeed the classics where you'd expect a gravel rider to compete. So Estrade or maybe Roubaix was on her schedule. Not really the stage races. And that's what I find curious, because I know she rode stage races before in her life. It's not the first time she ends up on a stage race. That's not what I'm trying to say. But to have this as the first proper stage race of the season is insanity, right?
Yeah, that is true. Like, to do the Tour de France after you've done basically Unbound and the tracker, that you're prepped for the Tour de France. That is... let Quinn Simmons
I don't mind. And
I think she's
Tiger's not here, so... Is it a Rouleur replacement?
Yeah, it's a Rouleur replacement for Dygert. You then have Klose and Backstedt in front of Consoni for the sprints.
I think that's fair. Now, the thing with Kasia is that she's never not been on the podium of this race. I think that's a crazy stat. That is such a consistency. It doesn't only show how consistent she is throughout the race itself in terms of her climbing level, but also how much she's been able to avoid accidents in the Tour de France Femmes, which can also help you reach the finish line. So she's not the rider I'd put forward to win it. Even in, let's be honest about it, even in 2024, I didn't believe she could win it. I thought Vollering was going to scrape the floor with her, but then Vollering and FDG made some really odd decisions. In this year, I'd love to see her continue the streak and podium. It's getting more difficult though with Ferrand Prévot coming back to the sport, with Blasi entering the top levels. I think it's more competitive for the podium than it has ever been for her.
Yeah, I think you do look at her previous results, like I think 10th in the Vuelta, 3rd in the Tour. DNF Vuelta, won the Tour. 11th in the Vuelta, 3rd in the Tour. 8th in the Vuelta this year, that doesn't mean she's going to be third again. The start list, as you say, is really deep. It's not just the one, it's also the Niedermeyer's her own teammate. There's these other riders who were younger before who were improving, who were second in the Giro. So, and with the TT too, like Niedermeyer's a good time trial rider. So I think they're co-leaders, but indeed you have to mention that team. EF bring Kerbal for GC and probably to sneak away on a descent. That's how she won a stage in
the Tour de France Femmes?
Of Welter this year even. She did the same trick. Rug for the versatile sprints, plenty in there for her. Faulkner, maybe a break or to help. Valliers, why not? Why can't she go for GC? She was 12th in the Giro, so they have like a lot of options, but no big GC favorite. I think Rug points jersey will be a goal.
For me, seeing Magdalene Valliers in a time trial, I'm not sure about that. I think that reminds me, it's a funny comparison. It kind of feels like it would remind me of Kiana Uitebrooks in a time trial.
Yeah.
She's a fantastic rider. I love her on the climbs and so forth, but I don't have confidence in a time trial. I'm sorry.
I think that's the thing. We'll get to the TT, but we have very little frame of reference. I've never seen Pauline Ferrand-Prévot do a road stage, do a TT in competition.
I only remember seeing highlights from like her previous road career. What is it? 12 years ago? 13 years ago? Outside of that, I've got no frame of reference either. So I'd like to believe she's not absolute dog shit, but I don't have confidence in that statement.
Exactly. You're thinking, you really don't know. You don't know how much time someone will lose.
Especially to a Reusser, who should clean almost everybody.
Exactly, yeah. So let's move on to SD Works. I was trying to find if they'd confirmed it anywhere. I was just checking Instagram, etc. They have not, to my knowledge, but I'm going to assume Anna van der Breggen is here. They have Kopecky for the sprints. Kopecky for the sprints Vivas doesn't make. Vivas for the sprints she does make. And Cecchini, I would guess they have a couple of other helpers. So they have 3 leaders, Van der Breggen for GC, Kopecky for the reduced sprints, and Vivas will win a stage most likely. Van der Breggen...
On that team? Go ahead, sorry.
Well, climbing-wise, she doesn't have much support. Maybe Cavallard?
Yeah.
She goes?
I don't know if she goes, but she could go. Her level was pretty decent so far, especially in Giro Women, as well as a supportive rider. That's where Van der Breggen was really good. She's ridden Vuelta, she's ridden the Giro, now she's riding the Tour de France Femmes in terms of Van der Breggen here. But I think the one rider that we have not mentioned yet in terms of teams is also partially because Trek has not announced their lineup yet. Balsam was a sprinter, Nie Fisher Black is there, but I've been tipped off that Isabella Holmgren is riding the Tour de France Femmes, and that's a top 5 candidate with the time trial too, She's fast.
Exactly. So I was trying to look as well to see if they had their team announced anyway. I was trying to give them the benefit of the doubt, but no. Little Trek, that is.
Is this where we imagine riders in their team?
Yeah, I was trying how far do you go imagining riders, whether they're in or not. I'll just whip through the rest of the teams quickly, maybe pick out some of their what their targets would be. We have Puck Peterson and Castelline maybe for a break at Phoenix with Cole sprinting, Lily Williams sprinting at Human Powered Health, and Livalula Jayco, Trinka Colonel for GC, supported by Gontova, Paternoster, Schmulders, and Roseman Gannon to perhaps sprint. Chiboko for GC at Picnic, Post, NL. And Julie Begot, I'd love to see the young French talented climber, see what she can do at Cofidis. And Ostalaza, she come top 10 last year on Laboral Kucha Fundación Euskadi. She did not think she had an issue in the earlier stages, but she's been again good this year, the 28-year-old. I would like to see her go for GC Ostalaza. And Volker Vessels, normally in breakaways. Aline Janssen was good in the all-round stages, so look out for Aline Janssen, I think, on some of the medium mountain stages if she makes the small group sprints. I think that's all we got for the teams. Is that right?
I think that's fair. I I sometimes feel like if you compare men's Tour de France to women's Tour de France, that there's really quite a few pro teams in this race that are just present, that most likely won't influence the race, which is a sad anecdote at what the level of those pro teams are at the moment. Like, for example, Lotto Intermarché, I don't really expect that team to influence the race. Is that harsh?
It's not harsh. It's like we've seen it in the classics, we see it in the other stage races. It's really like 5 or 6 teams dictating what's happening, and then maybe, at an AG Insurance, which is maybe not the 4th or 5th strongest team, it's like they could still go on a breakaway with Hakira, which is what I expect. I expect Justine Hakira to be in 20 breakaways, which is not possible in 9 stages, but she might make it happen. And if you want to make it happen when you're on holidays, if you're traveling, if you're going in between Switzerland, which I don't know if Switzerland's in Schengen or not, I don't know if it's in the EU, is it in Europe? No one knows. If you're traveling in and out of different countries, one of the easiest ways to ruin that first hour of a trip is landing or traveling across the border, realizing you have no data, or the data is going to bankrupt you. You can't message anyone. You can't load your hotel booking for fear of incurring huge charges. That's why we use Saily when we're traveling. Saily is an eSIM service from the company behind NordVPN that gives you affordable mobile data in more than 200 destinations. You can choose your plan and install the eSIM before you leave, then activate it when you arrive and get online without visiting a shop or swapping physical SIM cards, which I struggle to really do. I break the gate or door on my iPhone when I try to pop out the SIM card, so I try to avoid doing that where possible. It's particularly useful when you're traveling through several countries. You can manage everything directly through the Saily app instead of trying to work out a new mobile plan at every stop. So whether you're traveling to a race, heading away on a cycling holiday, or just escaping somewhere for the weekend, download the Saily app before you leave. Use the code LRCP at checkout for 15% off your first purchase to make sure you're connected from the moment you arrive. All right, the Grand Départ, Benji, take us away for stage 1. I'll let you do odds this year.
Okay, sure. We start off in Lausanne and we finish in, spoilers, Lausanne on the Côte Saint-François. So it's not a pure flat sprint. Throughout the parcours, we have 3 QMs in the middle block of the stage. I'd classify it. We've got an intermediate sprint about 70 kilometers into the stage just before the second QM. So we'll see whether it's full peloton going for it or whether a rider is ahead from the previous climb. I'd assume it might be full peloton because we don't really have breakaways properly in stages like this in the women's Tour de France, in those like flatter stages. But I'm quite captivated to see what will happen at the intermediate sprints because, like we already discussed, Wiebes is here. Will we see Wiebes sprinting for it? I assume we will. On top of that, Balsamo, Vos, etc. 25 points available, if I recall, at the intermediate sprint. And then the finish is 2.6 kilometers, 4.6% at the end of the stage. So it is not flat. It is to the point where I think peak Wiebes can fight for the finish here, but the team also has Kopecky, so it's really hard to choose between the two.
Yeah, when it's basically copy-paste last year, so...
Gradient-wise too?
Nah.
I don't remember.
I think last year was harder, right? Last year, stage 1, where Vos won after Ferrand-Prévot attacked, I think it was 1.8k, 6%. This year, it's 2.6k, 4.6%. But there's a k in there at 7%. But the last 600 meters is flat, I think.
Ooh. I find it fascinating to think about a finish like this, to be honest. Then
they have to nuke it on the 7% section if they want to cook Viva's legs.
I think there are teams that are going to try and nuke it. Like if you're Visma and you've got Vos, you're not going to try and ride to the finish with a jolly Sunday tourist tempo and be okay with sprinting against Lorena Wiebes. So I don't know. If I remember last year, we did have like Wiebes in the background being present still on the last climb, but then faded towards the end of the finish line, right?
Yeah, she was there, but then she had nothing in her legs. So you have to tighten. No, you're not going to drop her, but you need to make it that she can't sprint. So I think Blasi will just attack, personally. I think Blasi will just attack at every possible moment. I don't think Wiebes will win. I think Celia Géry will win.
I think that's a good call. I like that pick. I'm going for Marianne Vos. I think it's a default pick for a stage like this. Could also be Kopecky, could be any of those versatile sprinters. maybe a Lippert, but it doesn't seem hard enough for a Lippert to have an advantage on the other real more sprinters, right?
I don't think so, and she's not shown the shape this year compared to them, I don't think. Stage 2 from Aigle, UCI headquarters, 158 Ks. They go around Lac Le Mans, and they finish in Geneva, staying on the north side of the lake in the Swiss territory. And it's, even though it's 150 Ks rather, it looks hilly, but there's only 1,500 meters elevation gain. I think this is a nailed-on sprint for Vibers. I think SD Works control. I think it's flat at the finish. I think Vibers wins.
I think you're probably right. I think that's a boring pick, but it's a truth. So I'll also go for Weebus. But I will add that we've had 8 QM points so far in 2 stages that are destined to be sprint stages, and the finish on stage 1 also counts as QM. So quite a few points available in these non-GC stages, and I think that's an attempt to counterbalance what Mo Van 2 will do to the classification later, because I think Van 2 is 15 points, so it's also not the most points in the world. I think these points might matter if you make it a goal from the start of the race, and Shabby, the winner of the polka dots last year, is not here, so maybe someone else will step up in that sense. But if we then go to before we go, Weebus is number 1 in our sprint list.
Yep.
Balsamo was the one that stepped up when Weebus got disqualified at the Giro Women. She ended up winning then multiple times, Balsamo. Who else do we see in that margin of top 5 sprinters in this race? Next to a Vos, maybe.
I forgot Rug. I forgot Rug for the first stage, and she's Swiss too.
Oi, 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 sir.
I'm still going to go with Jerry, but yeah, I think Lily Williams, like in terms of actual flat sprints, Lily Williams. Beside, yep.
Cole?
Cole, yeah, it's Cole. It's Cole.
How's her level been this year? She's
Not
been okay
good.
at Phoenix?
She's been good in the classics, but she got beaten consistently at Baloise. She only won 1 stage there. I think her overall level is way better, but actually maybe her pure sprint is less. So to me, it's just Vibers anyway. Like this, I think there's a very deep, versatile sprint field here, where actually Voss is not head and shoulders above the Rug at the moment, or a Jerry at all. But the pure bunch sprinter, maybe Consoni. Nah. It's Balsamo.
I think Balsamo's the second best. I agree with you there. But anyway, on to stage 3. Definitely not a flat parkour, but once again, 4 QM points. And there's a first cat climb in breakaway formation. So a 10-kilometer climb, 12-kilometer climb at 6%. So break formation could be fun if some team wants to get, I don't know, hypothetically, a Kerboil type that isn't necessarily going for GC in the breakaway. Possible. That said, that is the biggest obstacle of the day. So there's ups and downs throughout the day. Like I said, 3 more QM points after that first one. But the fascinating part to me is, and we haven't mentioned it so far because there's not been any so far, but in this third stage, there's a final climb, Cat 4, with about 25 kilometers to go. It's 2 kilometers, 6%, and has a bonus point on it. I don't remember how many seconds it is, either 3-2-1 or 6-4-2, but it could potentially lead to something. I don't see it though, because the run-in is too easy. Is that fair?
Well, it depends if there's a break.
Yeah. I'm just saying that I don't expect someone to attack on that climb and stay away.
No. It's 6. It's, by the way. So it's 6-4-2, which is pretty... It is worth it. I think this stage, and especially stage 5, 12K's 6% out of neutral. The last 5Ks of that climb average 7.5%. Is Vibers surviving this, or is this just in Hakira Squibon territory?
It depends on the goal of other teams. Like, I think it's possible for Vibers to stay within contention of a potential stage win because of the fact that it's still 130 kilometers to go after the top. But I'm more leaning towards a lot of teams might try to go in the breakaway because it's so obvious a breakaway formation climb to me. So that's why I'm also leaning towards either versatile sprint or breakaway.
Can Peterson climb?
Yes, but not like... She's not like... Depends on whether you say, oh, my climbing list has 2 climbers on it, then no.
No. It's like...
Is she capable of getting over a mountain?
Yeah.
Solidly.
I'm going Puck.
Okay. I like that pick. I'm going Kim LeCour-Pinard.
Oh, yeah, that is
Although she
Ooh,
struggled with injuries, though, so I'm not sure it's a good pick.
she looked in shape from the I saw her training. It looked in shape to me. So, but yeah, I think AG Insurance, they're going to go all in for this. I mean, even Zigard, like, she should try to go on the break. It's a 12K, 6.5% start. I think this is break, and I think it's a pretty hard stage. It's also maybe a trap stage for GC, although
Brugge? For break.
if it's not a break, I think it's Jerry Vos Rook sprinting.
Yeah. That should be fun. I'm looking forward to a stage like
me
this.
Me too.
I assume there's broadcast from the start, but I'm not completely sure.
Why would you assume that?
I'm begging for it for this stage.
Actually, no, normally the Tour de France Femmes does have start to end broadcast, right?
I think so too, but I'm not completely sure.
Luke says no, 2 hours.
Oh,
I seem to recall watching Bunel jump in break formation last year on the Madeleine stage.
I agree. Maybe it was just the Madeleine stage.
I think it's 2 stages, Luke's saying. Okay, well, we don't know. I doubt we'll have coverage then. Stage 4, this is the big one. Gevry-Chambertin to Dijon, 21 Ks. And let's see whose TT cuts the mustard here. We have a flat 7 kilometers, 2K, 6.7% climb. So a proper climb. Also, it keeps going up. It's like 5Ks of climbing with intermediate time check at the top of the Lacet de Marsanne, and then a false flat descent before a flat 4 kilometers to the finish in Dijon. It's got a bit of climbing, 262 meters elevation gain. Royce is the heavy favorite. Royce, if you don't know it, Tour de Swiss, she just obliterated everybody in that TT. That was a flat-ish. It had not the same level of climb, but a bit of rolling terrain, but still she put, half an hour TT, a bit longer, and she put Elisa Longo-Borghini, for example, on a minute. Backstedt on 11 seconds. I think Backstedt, the climb takes her out of this. This to me is Royce v Demi v Van der Breggen, and I am going Anna Van der Breggen.
I'm going Royce for this one. And I think, like you, that Van der Breggen and Vollering will gain a significant portion of time on the Ferrand-Prévôts and also the Blasies of the world. I don't remember the time trials of Blasi, if I'm going to be completely honest. Do you remember any?
I mean, she wasn't a professional cyclist 18 months ago, and there's one TT a year.
Forfeit the Spanish ITT, but that's meaningless to me.
That's bad.
Yeah.
Like, with her power, she should just win it.
Fifth at Tour de l'Avenir Femmes last year, a minute 36
TT,
behind Holmgren. So, and that's a mountain TT, you're right. Yeah. So, yeah, I have no frame of reference here. She won a 4.4K prologue, I guess, for the Tour de Romandie, but that's useless as well. Yeah. And that's the one where all the drama was last year, so that's meaningless. We've got no data to go on. I
have no idea. I think Royce and Van der Breggen, they got to take time here. They got to take as much time as possible. And on Demi too, not just Ferrand-Prévôts. Ferrand-Prévôts, one would expect, will lose time just because the others are really good in the TT. How much time? To Demi, maybe
a minute?
A minute to Demi, 90 seconds to Royce of AVDB.
I'm leaning towards that area as well. I put AVDB closer to Vollering than to Royce, though. So really? I'm not sure Yeah. Like, I know Van der Breggen destroyed one of the time trials that I'm trying to think of, or he won the Giro time trial.
The Giro TT was nuts.
But that's also like a proper mountain time trial.
It was still nuts.
It was nuts. I agree with you.
And in World Champs Hilly TT, she's nuked Demi.
I gotta stay with my trust in Roycer though.
No, Royce should be the favorite. Royce should be the favorite. But AVDB I think might be better than we expect, and I gotta win the competition somehow. So
there's a prediction contest for this one.
Yeah, of course. I think ITT should be mandatory. I think if you're going to have Ventoux or Madeleine, you have to have a TT, and I'm happy they have it because it's an important discipline.
Flatter.
Yeah, a flat 30K TT to balance it out.
If you've got Ventoux in the race, which is a proper mountain, which will put proper gaps into the race, then you need in my opinion, 25-kilometer flat time trial.
Yep, I agree with you.
40-kilometer flat time trial.
80. Why not? Just go the whole.
Okay. I was gonna keep expanding, but you ruined my flow with saying 80. I'll allow it.
Stage
Stage
5.
5. Macon to Belleville-en-Beaujolais. 140 kilometers hilly parkour with, holy crap, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Sorry for those last two numbers. 7 QM points on this parkour, some of which are second cats and some fourth cats and some third cat. A bit of everything except a first cat. Montbrouilly, like you said, is the last climb with about 11 kilometers to go is where it tops, but there's a bonus second sprint before the foot of the climb, which... Why?
I don't know. It should be on top to encourage them to like attack. I don't know why it's there, to be honest, but it is. This is a GC stage, sorry.
Yeah.
3,000 meters of climbing. Like,
I agree.
It starts also with a climb. It's just climbing all day. There'll be a lack of control, and then Montbrouilly's hard. 3K's 8% near the finish. They're not the way they race. Demi or Cassia or Blasi, someone's going to attack. They're going to go for it. So I think this is a GC day. I am going with Maeve Squibon from an anticipation in the middle of the stage that never gets brought back.
Can I switch my pick from stage 3, Patrick? Am I allowed to? I picked Le Courpinard.
I think it's too hard.
I want to pick. No, I mean for stage 3. I want to put Vos in there because I think that's easier than we deemed it. I'd like to change there if I'm allowed.
You're allowed.
Okay, you'll allow it.
Fair. And who you want here?
Stage 5 though, I'm gonna go Demi Vollering. I think Montbrouilly is pretty hard.
It is pretty hard. And it can be a sprint between her and if maybe no puck is there. I think Vollering can win in a number of ways. Solo, small groups, group of 10 sprints. So yeah, I went with Squibon from an anticipation that never gets brought back, but your one's probably the most likely. Stage 6 from Montbrison to Tournon-sur-Rhône, 154 Ks. Again, these are brutal transition stages, like 2,500 meters elevation gain, climbing all day, hilly terrain. Like, you should not go to the finish with Vibus here. It's your own fault if you do. How does a team control, drop Vibus, and then set up Rug to sprint or Géry to sprint? I'm going Géry again, but break.
Okay, sorry, I had the wrong stage in front of me. I was really confused. I see the vibe. It's not the hardest climb, the last one. They're all not the hardest climbs in the world. By the way, QM will go to a break rider.
Yeah.
Like, this Tour de France Femmes is built to have breakaways. There's so many QM points. There's again 6 of them in this race. But I like your Géry pick. I am going to go for... This is my Kim Le Courpinard.
Yeah, this is the one that suits her, yeah.
Okay. Stage 7. La Voulte-sur-Rhône, Mont Ventoux is the finish. 144 kilometers, the queen stage of the race. And there's 3 QM points before we get to the final climb, but they're basically irrelevant in my personal opinion. Maybe the first one at this basically in break formation can lead to a breakaway forming that has a few satellite riders in it. But yeah, you said it. There's a Suzette climb, 4 kilometers, 6.4% before we get to Ventoux, but it's also not the biggest climb in the world. So it's kind of an attritional climb. I don't see it as a setup climb, but more as an attritional climb. There's an intermediate sprint in the parkour, but that's mostly irrelevant to the outcome of the stage. I am going to go as winner of this stage 4. It's fascinating because Finestre was a pretty high level. You said it was stat padding. Finestre wasn't voting at the level where I can say, oh, she's going to drop everybody on Mont Ventoux.
Exactly, because you watch it, okay, whatever the numbers are, but still, on the top of Finestre, she was with 4 riders, including herself.
I'm going Blasi.
She's 53 seconds ahead of Femke de Vries.
I feel like picking an outsider Victor, or at least Victor for the Mont Ventoux stage.
Blasi, you think?
Reality is, it's either Ferrand-Prévot or voting as the co-favorites for the stage.
Yeah.
I just feel like picking someone else for the sole reason that Ferrand-Prévot is such an uncertainty, because I've not seen her on a bike at a good level on a climb this year.
Exactly.
So
except Roubaix.
it feels out of character for me, personally, to then pick her for the stage with zero data to base it on. Voting is the rider that has the most consistency and has been on level this year, and I expect her to be at level during the Tour de France Femmes, but I'd like an upset, so Paula Blasi is winning over on 2.
I'll go Ferrand Prévot, but it may not be enough to wrap up GC like last year. I think it should be closer. Vollering should climb better. By the way, Little Trek have announced they heeded our call. It's Brand, Fisher Black, Aragees, Balsamo, Holmgren, like Benji said, Sprat, Marcus. I think Isabella Holmgren on this climb should be really, really good, and Fisher Black too. So I think they're going to go for 2 in the top 5, and Holmgren, she's going to challenge Blasi. She's the closest challenger for the white jersey, I think, although Blasi's the heavy favorite.
Niedermeyer?
She is also eligible. She's also eligible because she's a late starter, so I wondered if she was eligible, but she is.
Yeah, they've got the U23 rules in this one, right? Or am I inventing that?
I don't know.
It's 23 and younger or something instead of U25.
Stage 8 from Sisteron to Nice, 172 kilometers. Very long stage, transition stage. They have a long false flat uphill, and then we have 2 cat falls near the finish, 2.5 Ks, 4.2%. There is the Camino de la Rieta, 450 meters, 13%. It crests 8 Ks from the finish. You can't really see it. It's just a blip on the profile. But that's steep. 450 meters, 13% steep. I'm going to go... Can Weber survive that comeback 5K sprint? Can Weber survive that? I'll go Jury again.
I'll go Wibis.
Yeah, I think it's between those two.
And it's mostly because I had no clue that climb was there, because you said
you can't see it.
I can't see it.
But you'll get to it and then it'll go up a wall for 2 minutes.
And I'm sorry, but I base myself on the terrible parkour profiles of ASO, and therefore that climb does not exist, Patrick, in my book. Okay,
bring us home, Benji.
Okay, you really had the sucky stages in this race for the presentation here. Yeah. And I'm here burying myself in the mountains. We've got Nice to Nice as the final 99-kilometer banger, most likely. Yes, it's not the most inspirational parkour. We've got 4 times Col d'Aise, but I think the last time is the hardest one. The first 3 Col d'Aises are 7.7 kilometers at 5.9%. The last one is 6 kilometers at 7.6%. So I think that's the one we know from Paris-Nice. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes. Oh, there's a million different ways up the Corniche, I think. But yeah, it's steep. The last one's mega steep. Col de Quatre Chemins, mega steep, yeah.
Okay, and it tops with still 16 kilometers to go, but it's also a pedaling descent. I hope it doesn't still have those poles in the middle of the road that we always see in Paris-Nice when the race crosses there. But if GC is still up for grabs, this stage will matter. It kind of reminds me of wasn't there a stage like this at the end of Pure Women? Or am I inventing that? With a bunch of medium mountains. Or I'm probably inventing
the one with, I can't remember, last year there was a really good medium mountain one with Fisher Black. Where was it?
Either way.
No, not her.
GC is still up for grabs if it's close, but my assumption is that it won't be close by this point.
I think it's going to be close. I think GC will be open, and I think 3 different riders can still win GC by here. That's my hot take. I think Ventoux, they'll be close, and the TT will make the better TT riders. If you're within a minute, you can easily lose a minute on this stage. I mean, this is a raid stage. If you've got 2 GC, if you got Niedermeyer and Cassia, why don't you just go crazy on the second Col d'Aise? Drop all the other domestiques.
I think my issue with this stage is that the launching point for a raid stage is too obvious. As in, the first 3 Col d'Aises are notably easier than the last one. It's still a decent climb.
Still hard enough.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe I'm
6%.
underrating.
And the first, I think this is the Paris-Nice. I mean, for the men, this is a trap stage. You can lose Paris-Nice, in the classic Paris-Nice
stage 8. We say that,
8.
but isn't this just, if Pauline Ferrand-Prévot is in the leader's jersey, he needs to be in position on those climbs and respond, and then other GC riders are going to respond to other attacks for her in moments?
Maybe.
Hypothetically. So, in an ideal world, I agree with you. This is a raid staging can play out. I think in the tough world of pro cycling, Patrick, our expectations are always resulting in anticlimactic
not in the
outcomes.
women.
That's true. Giro women was
But
fucking
you're right.
great.
Last year, when you look at the stage last year, what Benji's describing is what happened. Demi tried to attack. Others closed everybody. They fought Gigante. They pulled. Pauline was isolated for 100 Ks. Didn't matter. They pulled her, and then she countered and just won. And if you win on Ventoux the day before, you should just drop everybody here as well on the final climb. So I'm not going to go that way. I'm going to go Demi sprint a la Remco Jorgensen 2025 Paris-Nice.
Okay. I am. Oh. I'm also going for Demi voting, but I'm not sure it's going to be a sprint. I think she might just drop people. Doesn't matter for the prediction contest.
Doesn't matter. You don't have to say how they win. Yeah, you're
And
just
I have to be right.
Yeah. I'm like, what do you want from me? We never do. That's why I picked Jerry for a couple of stages. I have no idea which way she's going to win it, but I was like, she's pretty good, so I'm going to pick her.
You didn't pick her for the last stage? Are you watched?
Nah, it's too hard. Sorry, and the GC riders will go for it. I think it's a nice parcours. I like the final stage. Still, you can still, on those descents in Nice on that circuit, it's tricky. It's still going to be open. I like the TT. If I'm Lorena Vibas, I don't particularly like it. But when you compare this, if you compare this parcours to the 2024 parcours that started in the Netherlands, this is
a lot better.
Miles better, yeah, I think so.
But I think the reason I'm picking Vollering is I'm imagining her not being in the lead position before stage 9, and then she usually ends up getting like a revenge stage win. No?
She does. That is what I'm saying. I'm saying, okay, here's my prediction. I'll just do them now then, because we've actually been taking on a per stage basis. This is longer than the men's preview.
Why not? It deserves it. It's a great race.
I also think it's like there's 4 different riders at least that can win this Tour de France Femmes, which is very exciting going into it. That's why I'm pumped. But I think the TT is not as important as the Ventoux for reasons we discussed. It's just not as impactful. And if you get dropped on the Ventoux, I think it's going to be on the Chalet Renard section, and then the gap should be big. It depends on the wind direction, but I'm going Ferrand-Prévot to be the first rider to defend the championship. I don't know.
My winner for the race doesn't make any sense with what I just said about taking revenge before the last stage, because I'm going to pick Demi Vollering as the second time she wins the Tour de France Femmes.
Okay.
And my reasoning is that I agree that Ventoux will matter on paper more than a time trial, but I hope to see the best Demi Vollering in this race. And if she's the best Demi Vollering, then she's on the level to stay within a notable distance from even the best Pauline Ferrand-Prévot. So with the gap that she'll take on the time trial, expectedly at least, I'm picking Demi as my winner for this Tour de France Femmes. And the podium, though, second place, Ferrand-Prévot, third place, Blasi. It's so boring that I picked the 3 favorite people before the race.
Ferrand-Prévot, I literally just see boom or bust.
I agree. I think I might change. I think I might just go voting and then go with Blasi second and Niewiadoma getting another podium.
Yeah, Cassia we're underrating. I mean, I don't know how a TT will be, but Cassia will be good probably. And
time trial won't be good though.
It won't be, but yeah.
She's got the dog in her when it comes to climbing. When she's dying, but she stays with emotion.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going Ferrand-Prévot first, Demi second, and I'm going Royce a third.
I like it. Yeah. I like the pick. Ventoux, I'm worried about Royce. I'll be honest.
She just got to do her pace.
Yeah. How much time does she have to take on everybody on the time trial to have a chance of winning on Ventoux?
But it's not just about Ventoux. Aren't these other stages, if she can attack on these 5%, 6% climbs, and then there's loads of flat after. How many of these stages, like stage 9, stage 5, stage 3, stage
6?
Yeah, 6.
But I think we want that to happen but I feel like it happens less than we say because
Because it's
teams
up
tend to
front
be
too. The Vontu's
very
after.
old school. I agree. Teams tend to be very old school, and also DSs in women's teams. No offense, I've got the same feeling where they've got this like within the box idea of how races are run, and therefore on those versatile sprint stages, I expect everybody to go in line with a versatile sprint stage, unless you have an attacking option in that sense. I think GC riders will be thinking about staying safe and trying to survive that until we get to the time trial, while Roycer can take a gap and then hoping she can defend that on the mountain without necessarily thinking about other opportunities next to the time trial where she can gain time. Am I underrating the S's?
No, I think
in
you're
that
right. I think
logic?
if the Vontu was stage 1 and then the TT was stage 2, you'll see a Roycer on the attack for the rest of the race. But I think Movistar made a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more forward thinking, so they might know her qualities. So I hope that we see more of an open race from the GC riders on the other stages. That's why they've been put there. So that's what I've said for the yellow jersey. For the white jersey, I'm going Isabella Holmgren. I don't know, just want to pick some outsider. Blasi's obviously the heavy favourite, but I'm going Holmgren. She was 7th in the Giro with Finestra. She was 2nd on Finestra. Yeah, I'm going Holmgren.
For white,
Yeah.
I have to go Blasi because I put her on the podium.
Yeah,
and otherwise,
Blasi is the favourite, yeah.
I could hedge my bets, but I'd be lying if I wouldn't pick Blasi. The way she was flying in Andorra when I was hopping by. The only downside is I think she crashed in June on a high-speed crash.
Yeah.
I think she had stitches, but no serious injuries from that. So I don't know what the follow-up is from that injury too much. She looked all right in the last month. Did we do green already?
No.
That's the big one, I think. Together with Polka,
I have no feeling on the green jersey.
For example,
it depends on the attitude of EF. If EF to commit all their resources to keep stage 3 together for Rug to sprint, then yeah, green is really on for her.
Especially when you look at stage 5, for example, there's the green jersey sprint 40 kilometers in after 3 categorized climbs. Then I go towards stage 6 with green jersey after 3 categorized climbs again. Then I go to stage 9 mostly then, where it's after the first Col d'Aise. I'm sorry, but it's quite a fascinating parcours for the green jersey.
I think it is.
And it's 50 points for flat stage. I don't remember which stage roll flat in terms of the actual classification in the rulebook. Hilly stages are said to be 30 points. So it's not like there's a 70-point rule, just like in the men's Tour de France. But Rug is actually a candidate. I hadn't even considered her before you mentioned her name for it. So
yeah, I think it's between. Well, Vivas, I don't think can win it.
I think it's Vos in my book.
She hasn't shown enough. I'm going Jerry. I think, and also I think FDJ Suez United, or FDJ United Suez even, they let Xavi go for QOM last year. So
correct.
Why not
Why
not let the French phenom go for green?
Remember that Vollering sprinted at a QOM point to take points away for the sake of Xavi? That was a next level moment.
I'm going Jerry. I think they go for it. She's 20 years old. She's won a Giro stage this year. She's class. I'm going Jerry.
Like, if we mistakes hypothetically stage 8 and stage 1...
You got to climb, I think, for this year.
Then there's 100 points. That's not enough. The hilly parcours are... Stage 2 is also... Technically, max, I think Wiebes can take 150 points from stage and not much from actual sprints.
And the intermediates are all behind climbs.
Max 175 points is what I see for her. I'm trying to take a look at the points classification. Last year, there were 230 points for Wiebes last year as the winner. I think Vos is gonna be the one. I think she'll be close enough on the flat stage to take, let's say, 90 points or something, or 75 points from actual flat sprints. And I see possibilities for at least 75 points in intermediate sprints for her. Then I'm still not at all near the 200 points that I need, but...
You know what I'd love to see? Puck Peters to go for green this year.
I don't think she can do it.
Yeah, probably not. But
I think her flat sprint's not good enough.
No. But there might be one flat sprint.
I think there'll be at least 2.
Yeah, but Yeah, I think you're right, but she should go ape shit on that sister on stage on that punchy part. She should go for it there.
On the hill that doesn't exist, right?
On the hill that you can barely see. I think I'd love to see Park Attack there. QOM, I'm going Justine Hakira. And we know what she's going to do. It's going to be between her and maybe a Squibon, but I'm going Hakira.
I really like your pick there.
Yeah, I prepared for this. This is why the race starts late. I prepared this morning. I
also
lost the men's prediction contest, so I need to win.
I would enjoy Vallières going for QM, actually.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
I think Koch could go for QM as well.
She could.
He did last year at DSM, if I recall.
It's all from farming the Cat 3s on short hills.
Yeah. And again, you say Jerry as the person that might go for something. I think Koch might be able to just go for the actual QMs in the race. So I'm trying to look for one last name that could like tick me off. Like Katrinka Colonel could also go for QM, but I think she'll have higher ambitions, or other ambitions is what I'm trying to say. I'm gonna go for Franziska Koch QM.
Okay. When in doubt, pick a UA or FDJ United Suez rider. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a really, really exciting race. There are picks. I think it's open until Nice. And I really like the parcours this year, and I like how the in-between stages really depend on the attitude of the peloton and whether you want a Weaver sprint, a Jerry Voss sprint, or a breakaway. And I'm really, really excited. We'll have daily coverage after each stage, of course, live streaming each recap. I'll have highlights on Lanterne Rouge YouTube channel every evening. And thanks for listening as always. Thanks to the sponsors of the race, Zwift, ASO, everyone for putting it on and expanding it. And I'm keen to see another exciting edition. See you on Saturday. Ciao, ciao.